Alright guys, I'm going to give you my opinion of Turtle Well after roughly spending 1 month playing here. This video might try to paint, you might get the impression that I'm talking about Turtle Well in a negative light, and I assure you that is not my intentions here. This is just constructive criticisms and things that I've noticed as a new player and somebody new to the private server scene in general. So the first thing I noticed as a leveling player was the impact that the hardcore segregation has on the leveling process. The player base is already segregated by English speakers and non-English speakers, so you throw in the fact that hardcore is also segregated from the general player base, or normies as the hardcore community likes to call us. It creates issues trying to level a character or level alts, and I found that this is not always the case, and I don't want to say that every hardcore player is like this, but some players use the hardcore thing as an excuse to be jerks. And I have made hardcore characters as well, just to, to get a feel for what's going on in the chat, because that's the only way that you can get in the chat, as far as I know. And generally, I just think that maybe hardcore should have its own server. So you have a segregated population already with English speakers and non-English speakers, and then you further segregate it with a hardcore crowd, and it just feels like it's harder than it should be to team up with people out in the open world for quests and stuff like that. It's a real pain in the butt, to be honest with you. I think instead of launching the PvP server, they should have just launched a hardcore server. I think long term that would have done more to foster a more sense of community than what's currently going on. It's just makes things harder than it needs to be. But that's all I'm going to say about that. But that was one of the first things that I've noticed when I started playing there. There's something that you definitely need to be aware of. On the PvP server, it's not an issue, but not everybody wants to play PvP, and I totally get that. Okay, so everybody plays MMOs for different reasons. I'm not a rating guy. I did that back in the day. I'm not going to do it again. I don't want to adhere to a rating schedule or maintain a certain gear score just to be able to participate in content. That's not what I find fun anymore. I used to, but not anymore. I have different goals, and I find fun in different ways. A lot of people do. One of the real issues that I have with Turtle WoW is it's a vanilla plus experience, which means you're expanded on the vanilla game. That's fine. I think that's awesome. But the thing that I take issue with is nerfing gear that's already been established in vanilla to funnel players into raiding. When I first joined the server, it was like any specs viable and all this other good stuff that, you hear about Turtle WoW and all this, that, and the other, but at the end of the day, it seems like, from what I can read from the change logs and, the little bit of research that I've done, is they just want to funnel you into raiding, best in slot just from crafting and no effort and all this other stuff. Yeah, some people, that is their end game. Some people, the end game crafted stuff is the best they're ever going to be able to get to go, some people just like to farm 5-mans and stuff like that, or, dire them all or whatever, and some of that gear is the best that's what people shoot for. That is their end game. And I'm one of those people. So, that just sucks that it's just another, you have to raid to get anything to be viable. I'm not saying you should have the best gear from PvP or anything like that, but I just think the vanilla armor sets should be left alone. And if you want to add things and expand on that, that's great. But to take away people's in-game crafted sets or adjust those or whatever it is, I don't know. It doesn't set right with me, and it seems like it's just trying to force people to raid, and not everybody wants to, man. And let's talk about, okay, so you don't want to raid, you just want to queue up some BGs and rank up, right? Yeah, good luck with that. There's a certain demographic that has the honor system on lockdown on the PvE server. We know what demographic I'm speaking of, and they're making it incredibly difficult for normal players to get in there and rank up. And So if that's your end game, you're directly impacted for that too. I mean, so it is what it is. I don't think it's an issue on the PvP server as of yet. I don't think anybody's really doing BGs there. It's a lot of open world stuff right now, but I don't know what the conclusion of that's going to be or where that's going to go in the end. But from what I understand, that's the situation on the PvE server. So it is what it is. You need to know about that before you get into it. I don't know if they've opened up transfers for those people yet, or if it's, I don't know. So one of my favorite activities in World of Warcraft is fishing, and apparently it has been adjusted as well. One of the things that I find the most fun is to level up and fish in some of the in-game areas. In certain times of the year, you catch certain things and sell them on the auction house or use them for yourself. But some of the high-value items, from what I understand, have been adjusted because to combat botting. But what it does is it affects normal players too, and that really sucks. But I'm sure there's 100 more issues that I could come up with that I haven't thought about or just can't remember right at the moment. But I know this video may seem negative, but I don't want you to take away this. I don't want you to think that I'm bashing on it or anything, because I was there for the PvP server launch, and you know what? It went really smooth. Props to the Turtle WoW team. They did an excellent job. While I'm on the subject of the PvP server, I was there for launch. I fell behind the leveling curve because my indecision on what class to play and what faction to play really caused me to fall behind. I wrote Alliance character and then decided, you know what? I'm not that familiar with Alliance. Let me go Horde. And the issue I ran in with Horde, I got a hunter up pretty high, but man, the people are just so freaking hateful for no reason in a 20-year-old video game over minute things too out in the world. I mean, I've experienced a lot of toxicity and just pure hatefulness for no reason on Horde side, and then as a result of that, I refuse to participate in that kind of a community. I'm abandoning my Horde character, and yet again going to Alliance and seeing if it's any different over there. And if not, I'm not going to play on the PvP server. We play these games, or I do at least, to try to find some sense of community, and that's what I was hoping to find with Turtle WoW. But so far, that has not been the case for me, at least. So it's been another case of just me playing by myself mostly, and having interactions with people out in the open world, which there has been really good interactions too, but it's just so few and far between that the bad outweighs it, and that weighs heavy on somebody when you spend so much time in game. That negativity and stuff starts really wearing you down, and maybe my expectations are just unrealistic. But I was hoping to find a really friendly community that you could just go out and do things with and enjoy, and not have to raid. But I don't know. I'm gonna give it one more shot on the PvP server on Alliance side for real this time. And if things aren't any different, then I'll go back to the PvE server, because I haven't logged on there in a while, and just fish on my druid. But I'm really questioning whether I want to continue to play here at all anymore, because the things that I enjoyed doing all seem to have been adjusted in some way. I'm not going to say nerfed, I'll just say adjusted. So anyway, that's my impressions and my thoughts 1 month in, and probably something that you need to be aware of before you invest your time here. Thanks for watching.